I've been a big fan of David Ayer's for years. I actually screen tested for Antoine Fuqua for Training Day, like over 12 years ago. So, and I still to this day, I said I think Training Day is the best script I've ever read. So he's always kind of been on my bucket list of people to work with, and the script came up. I got to read it. I went in and met with David. We talked about it, and then here I am. We trained for a few months, and then even when we began shooting, we were still training. There was hand-to-hand fighting, some MMA, basically stand-up and ground fighting MMA stuff, just to because there is fighting in the script, but there's also, I think it was to just have that warrior spirit. These guys are hunters, these guys are killers, and so I think it was to get into that mind frame, and then from there we'd hit the gun range with live ammo with members of the sheriff's department and SWAT team officers, and some guys that were former military, and we'd go out and shoot live rounds, and then we trained with pretty much the best of the best as far as task forces go. There's a task force that travels around the world and teaches other military forces how, basically the latest techniques on sweeping houses and sweeping buildings. Everyone is different, so it's this really complex, almost a science. But it's a science that can't be replicated because every layout's going to be different, so you have to learn this way of free thinking. So we train with those guys on how to sweep houses and basically how to become an organic unit without speaking and knowing what the other person's doing, and which is fascinating. Jamie turned me onto this Hemingway quote from 1936, and it said, "There is no hunting like the hunting of man. And those who have hunted armed men long enough and liked it never care for much else thereafter." He wrote that in 1936. And I mean, that for me, that quote for me was exactly what this character was about and exactly what the rest of the film was about. I grew up idolizing Arnold. I mean, me and my friends, that was it. I can quote every single Arnold movie, and for most of the shoot, I did quote every single Arnold movie to Arnold in his own voice, But I think it's short-sighted to say that this is an Arnold movie, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that I think a lot of people like me, who grew up watching every single movie the guy made the day it came out, and can recite them backwards and forwards, are going to see a very different type of Arnold movie. It's a David Ayer movie. And I think, David's personality is the one that set the pace. It's more about the technique, and I think it's more about learning the technique of the guys who actually do it in order to have an audience look and go, I'm not sure exactly what he did, but that looks real. So you want the audience to trust you in that way, and the way to get them to trust you is to do that work. And so, Arnold was there every day, just like the rest of us in the trenches, learning from the SWAT teams and learning from the sheriff's departments and on the range and working out. So, we all busted our ass to try to allow the audience to go into the theater, see this movie, just relax and be taken on a really wild ride. In the script, it's there's a scene where my character is giving a tattoo to Max Martini's character, Pyro. So, that coupled with the fact that he's an undercover in a biker gang, I talked to some guys who have done that, or some guys that went deep cover, and so the beard needed to come out. The cornrows were actually kind of that was my stink on this whole thing. My character's, undercover biker, tattoo artist, all around dirty scumbag, badass dude. But he's also former Marine. So, you've got this tattoo here, which is kind of a take on the traditional Marine symbol with the eagle with the skull. You can see in the skull's eyes, those are actually the miniature eagles with the skulls. And out of his mouth, he's kind of puking this baby Jesus in a diaper and breathing fire, and out of the fire is forming a Grim Reaper with a .50 caliber. It says USMC, In God We Trust. This one is a tip to his Native American heritage, which is skull in a headdress.